You hand the food out to the orphans. How did you get this? The boy asks. Hearing this, the boy blurts out, I'm going to use the burning water to get rich too. The boy mentioned that his parents died due to illness. Likely they were stricken with the toxins from the tinder water. Just like the aristocrat's child, you try to express support for the boy's dream while conveying tinder water isn't good for him. The boy thanks you for the food and runs off with his sister. Polka has a difficult-to-read expression on his face. Let's at least hand out the medicine, he suggests. You nod without uttering a word. The fire in my heart has gone out with all the rest, the man. But he keeps repeating, no, I'm good, as though in a delirium. The passionate woman is screaming herself hoarse, coughing and sputtering as she points in shock at the pond where the fire has gone out. The woman accepts the medicine from you. With a pained wink, she says, not that this medicine could cure love sickness. The lad is all smiles and mirth, claiming that if he were to invent a tool to start fires, he could make a killing. Despite his sunny attitude, though, you give some medicine to the ambitious young man, and he is jubilant. Yes, I can work even more now. With a trembling hand, the knowledgeable old woman strikes a knife against stone, muttering, You offer some medicine to the old woman, but she puts up a hand and refuses it. I'm afraid I don't make a habit of taking... I'm gonna get rich and buy my sister all the yummy food she can eat, the boy tells you. You offer medicine to the children, but their faces drop. This won't fill our tummies, they say with considerable disappointment. It doesn't look like the people of the city are going to stop using tinder water anytime soon. The medicine you shared with them may provide... I can't believe they won't give it up. They know it's poisonous, you say in a low, pained voice. You look up at him and ask, Do you think everyone could be happy if we went to New Terra? His denial is immediate and assured. New Terra is a fairy tale. You answer him in a small voice. Polka looks positively delighted. Why, yes. Now that Trollis seems equally on board. In the face of your united enthusiasm for the idea, Legol grunts, You and your friends have made up your minds. You shall seek New Terra and whatever hope it offers, believing it exists just like the stars in the sky. The city has done nothing about the poison, and likely never will. Now that you've left, it would be safest if you never returned. Your group surveys the land beyond the river that the aristocrats spoke of. He claimed that none who go there ever return. Yet you've little choice but to brave what lies beyond. The fire's out, but... A great river of tinder water stretches out before you. You start to hesitate, thinking that he is carrying an iron board, apparently having brought just as before. You and your allies decide to build a bridge across the river. Your sand skiff was made for moving over the sands, so it'll be difficult to go any farther aboard it. You propose remodeling the sand skiff, and Legol's face is uneasy. Polka explains that after some quick preparations, you decide to split up to locate what you need. Sometimes a different perspective can be illuminating. Polka asks Trollis, despite feeling a little sluggish. Trollis takes off to the south, eager to help the group. Trollis wanders the area, searching for some durable cord or rope, but turns up nothing. Trollis looks around, trying to find a plant that she could braid into rope. The region is so arid, though. Trollis rummages through her possessions, looking for some durable cord. She must have brought it along by mistake. Looking over the whip brings back memories. Trollis spends some time reminiscing. Not cord, she says, tossing it away. Realizing that a whip could work in place of a cord, Trollis decides to return to the sand skiff. Polka asks Legol to find something that could... Legol is skeptical that something like that will just be lying around, but he sets off to look nonetheless. Legol recalls that there was a cart in the mine near Steelborough. Though hesitant to return to such a dangerous place, he can't make excuses when he thinks of how hard a certain he decides to take the sand skiff alone back to the mine. There is indeed a cart in the mine. Legol attempts to remove the wheels, but suddenly, a monster emerges from behind it. With the monster defeated, the slain monster's eyes are wide open. Legol gently closes the monster's eyes. Having done what he set out to do, Legol decides to head back to the sand skiff. Polka asks you to locate a long, sturdy pole. Trollis dashes off to the south, so you decide to head north so that you all can cover more ground. Perhaps because you're by yourself for the first time in a long while, your thoughts drift inexorably to your comrades. Your thoughts turn to Trollis. Her awkward way of speaking somehow only accentuates her sweetness. And back when you faced the flame primal, she pushed herself so hard to save you from certain death. You can't help but be a little concerned about her. Legol can be somewhat brusque, but deep down he's a support. From time to time, though, you spot a lonely, sad look on his face, perhaps due to his difficult past being treated like human livestock. Your thoughts turn to Polka. Polka's breadth of knowledge has been an incredible boon, and also while he's typically an affable fellow, you do sometimes spot an unexpected iciness. Your crew of friends has grown little by little, but with them at your side, you know while you were lost in thought, a monster has found you. You decide to summon up all your courage. The monster brandishes a weapon whose handle is a long, sturdy-looking pole, the exact kind Polka needs. That's how it's done. Your battle with the monster has landed you. Having done what you set out to do, you decide to head back to the sand skiff. With what Polka requested in hand, you beat feet to meet back up with the others. The group meets back up, having you've brought the sturdy pole. Legol has the wheels. Are you sure I can use your whip? Polka asks. And Trollis turns her bag upside down. And as advertised, and doesn't your ringmaster need these? A bit of pep in his step. Polka starts zipping around the sand skiff, making modifications. The modifications to the sand skiff are finished. The vehicle should be able. The group is thrilled. Trollis collapses. Polka hurries over to examine her. Somehow, she's suffering the effects of tinderwater poison. You hold Trollis close, but can do little else. This does. The battle with the flame primal flashes through your mind. During the struggle, Trollis threw her. The poison must have entered her body through the wound she sustained in the process. Despite downing some of Polka's medicine, Trollis remains languid. She needs a sanitary place to rest, Polka says, and the group decides to try to find one. A man, breathless and plump, suddenly jumps out in front of your group as you search for a place where Trollis can rest. Recognition dawns in you, and you're sure this is the ringmaster of the circus. At least, until he flatly denies it, saying Trollis rises unsteadily from the deck of the sand skiff. The man looks at Trollis for a moment, then breaks into a delighted smile. As he explains it, he works as a merchant who travels the world by, and to that end, he wastes not a moment in trying to strike up some business. Perhaps a gander at my wares, then. You briefly explain Trollus's condition, and why didn't you say so sooner? The merchant shares that he has heard of a village to the west, wherein resides a brilliant apothecary. He's said to be a rather crabby fellow, but with any luck, you can get some medicine from him. And you say a few words of thanks. The man calls after you. I'll be here with my compatriots for a while, so do pop by later. Get him. You locate a small village. This is probably monsters suddenly appear. You can't let them attack the town, for Trollus's sake too. You take off running to stop the monsters. Battle time. Sometimes you get lucky. Unbeknownst to any, you manage to avert the danger. Now Trollis needs help. Hurry into the village. You and Legol enter the village, leaving Polka caring for Trollis on the sand skiff. No sooner do you enter the village than a man's voice calls out to you. The villager wears a curious headpiece, but see you get directly to the point. "Ah, that would be me," he says, before offering to mix up some medicine if you're in a hurry. You explain Trollis's symptoms, and the man calling himself an apothecary smiles and says he can help right away. Afraid of the answer, you ask what it will cost. The man calling himself the apothecary hardly seems crabby at all, so he answers that coming to this village changed him, made him realize that people need to live by helping each other. The apothecary suggests you take a wander about town, while he adds, "The folks about town are kind souls." Legol says that he'll get Trollis and returns to the sand. You decide to walk around the village and find what you'll need to care for your friend. A giant statue towers above you, kindly eyes seeming to cast a protective gaze across the village. After hearing your tale, the woman hands you her food. And if there isn't enough, you just let me know and I'll make more. Ha ha. She finishes with a hearty laugh. The boy looks at you and says, "This would look nice on you, miss." You try to pay for it, but the boy counters with a smile. "I gave it to you because I wanted to. That was nice." The old man says, "No person is an island. That's why we need to join hands and help one another." The white building gives off such a grandiose air, it makes you hesitant to even approach. After hearing your tale, the proprietor of the inn beams at you and says, Don't worry your head over payment. Stop in and make use of one of our rooms as much as you offer a word of thanks and feel a weight lift off your chest. Now Trollus will be. The apothecary comes running. You take it from him and then try to head back to Trollus. But wondering what could have happened, you hurry over. A crowd of villagers has thronged the entrance to town. On their earlier kindness seemingly an implausible memory, the group shouts, "Get out, now." You realize that the villagers they seem somehow furious at her. Even the apothecary, who only just handed you medicine for her, has an expression of utter rage on his face. You attempt to intervene and protect Trollus. Suddenly, you hear a serene voice. At the sound of it, the people fall incredibly. A mysterious girl, young in years, emerges from within the awkward. "I beg your forgiveness for the way you. If you require a place for your sick friend to rest, please come to the Shrine of Light," she finishes, before leading the way. As soon as you arrive at the shrine in which the girl lives, you put Trollus in a bed to rest. You're relieved that you've managed things for the time being. When you speak, you haven't told the girl anything. "I know more than that. The monster attack on your village. Legol's. What's your deal?" Legol says, unnerved. She explains that due to her power, the people. You've never heard that word before, and so you ask, "Guru?" You ask if a guru is some kind of pop star, and Legol returns your question, looking perplexed. "What's a pop star?" You explain what a pop star is, something you read in a book once, and Legol nods. Polka adds, "A guru is the founder of an ideological group, or in any event, the guru is clearly important to the village." You decide to ask her about the place. You ask why the once kind villagers became so angry. This remote village has, she explains, been the victim of many monster attacks over the years, which in turn means that many of its inhabitants, that hatred eventually took root in the village as a kind of religious doctrine. Thus their behavior when they saw Trollus. You ask why the villagers were so kind at first. The village, she explains, adheres to a doctrine called. She goes on to explain that the foundational principle of the light faith is to be kind to people. And so there have been two absolute doctrines in this village. She gazes at the room where Trollus is sleeping and asks, "Your friend is a monster, yes?" You hesitate to reply, having vaguely suspected what Trollus. The guru amends her words. "Forgive me. She is half human and half monster." "What are your thoughts on that?" she asks. It's true that monster blood may flow in Trollus's veins. Monsters, but as you've traveled, seeing you falter, the guru offers another apology. Many of them lost family to monster attacks and are seized with hatred. "I ask you to forgive them," she continues, her voice tinged with hurt. "Ah, right. Your group wishes to go to New Town. Stunning that your powers could even tell you that," says Polka in a low voice, and she explains that there is a stone tablet in the ruins of a religious edifice to the northeast of town. Said tablet, however, you should know. There's information on New Terra to be had, though, so you decide to go anyway, despite the danger. Trollis is sleeping soundly. Quite relieved, you thank the woman. She seems annoyed, but when you inform her that you're headed to the ruins, she quickly turns her attitude around and bows her head. The ruins were evidently a sacred site for this village, one where marriages, funerals, prayers for, and the tablet was used in those ceremonies. You accept the woman's request, explaining that you were planning from the start. You've no sooner gotten your response out than Trollis's eyes fly open, and she bursts out, while she is a little unsteady yet. You try to convince her to rest a little longer. At length, her persistence wins out, and you begrudgingly agree to take her along and head for the ruins. This place feels eerily familiar. You open your pack, you knew it. This is where the map says there's hidden treasure. You feel around on the ground for a moment. You claw at the earth with reckless abandon. Success. Buried treasure. Ecstatic, you fling open the lid and stash its contents in your bag. To battle. Battle time. Battle time. To battle. A masterful victory. You look at Trollis and she gives a vivacious bounce, assuring you. Perhaps she then realizes what you actually mean. She reminds you that she has the circus troupe to accept, and on top of that, she has kind friends who worry about her and do their best to nurse her back to health when she falls ill. So of course she's all right. To battle. To battle. Your group reaches an antechamber with 3 arrows inscribed on the floor. Further inside, you can see a statue and what appears to be some kind of pedestal. To the right is a door, and by the looks of it, your only way onward. The floor sinks slightly when you step on the arrow, and then, why, the statue moved. Apparently, it moves in the same direction as whichever arrow is stepped on. The statue slides on top of the pedestal, and in that instant, with a groan relieved that you can finally move on, you decide to head through the door. Battle time. Monsters block the way. You attack them at once, determined to make your way deeper into the ruins. Battle time. Beautiful. The monsters make no move to attack you, and instead seem to be focused on quiet prayer. Sometimes you get... To battle. Battle time. You emerge into a wide open space with an array of stone tablets. Your excitement fades as you realize just how many there are. You glance down at your feet. The scrap has a note written on it. To proceed, align the tablets with matching patterns. Well, that's simple, Ligol says. He approaches the tablets, but then... the tablets change position entirely on their own. You flipped a stone tablet with a dip. Try picking another one. You've managed to match 2 stone tablets. Keep it up. You've successfully flipped all of the tablets. And now, with a groan, the door, feeling a bit mentally fatigued, you decide to head through the door with your friends. Battle time. Battle time. To battle. Get him. A massive statue stands vigil here, looking almost as though it is taking the measure of those who pass through. You've discovered the stone tablet that has information about New Terra. You rush over to the tablet. But suddenly, you guessed it, a monster appears and attacks. Get him. There appears to be some. You ask Polka to decipher it, but the script, the four of you decide to ask the guru about the tablet. You decide to explore the ruins a bit more before leaving. You look at Trollis and say, she assures you that it's fine, and comes along as you make your way into town. Before you can say anything, the sudden contrition is a surprise, and not just to you. Legol and Polka are clearly taken aback, too. The guru must have explained things. Everyone in the village has accepted Trollis by the sound of it. The guru accepts the tablet and runs a loving hand over it. This little piece of stone isn't. You find it all a little bit unsettling. Hoping to move, the guru gives a deep bow of the head at your question. You're stunned at the news. She lied to you in order to get you to retrieve the tablet. Your shoulders droop, and you struggle to get the word, but the guru replies in a solemn voice. It is found to the north, beyond a massive cliff that towers over the land, called the End Wall. She goes on to explain that to get there, with that, she offers a final prophecy. There's something desolate in her expression. The moment you leave the shrine, the village is suffocatingly quiet. Polka lets out a little scream and points at a villager collapsed on the ground. The old man has Stay alert, Legol whispers so that only the group can hear. The old man is dead, his gentle face frozen. The boy is dead, surrounded by artificial flowers. The woman is dead, but the hand on her full stomach suggests her end was met in satiety. A bottle of medicine has tumbled over next to the corpse of the apothecary. Having examined several of the bodies, Polka reports that the cause of their death appears to have been suicide. You remember the desolate expression on the guru's face, and you realize you need to rush back to the Shrine of Light. Though it looks like she is just sleeping, the proprietor is dead. Legol rears up and breaks the door open with a mighty kick. The guru is collapsed, bleeding on the ground. You run over to her and try to help her. Her eyes flutter open, and she looks over your group. They have all passed without incident then, she says with a feeble smile. You take one of her limply hanging hands and ask. She said as much. They have a creed here in the village, and that be kind to people and kill monsters. And this village's hatred for monsters runs deep, having taken root long, long ago. Those feelings cannot be changed. The guru produces the stone tablet from the ruins. So Trollis bursts into tears and says, "No," says the guru softly. She was prepared for this and invited you in with despite all of that, she still wished to get the stone tablet back from the monster. They were all tired. The many years of being caught up between their hatred and their creed had made the villagers and the guru alike exhausted. With one last word of thanks, the guru gently breathes her last breath. Thus did the monster-loathing village pass to dust. A visceral demonstration of what happens when you mix faith with hate. You and your companions dig long, deep holes, graves. You feel it's only right to give the dead a proper burial. That's one grave complete. You let out a long sigh. You wonder how the others are faring. You find Trollis and Legol. Trollis is in shock. Had she not, they made their choice. We bear no responsibility for their fate. Silence hangs in the air. You leave them be. Polka gazes at the shrine of light, where you ask Polka. He shakes his head and says, "There are many things." As you leave, you hear him speaking softly to himself. Though closure yet escapes you, the graves have been dug. The party agrees it is time to sleep, or at least to try. The village is all too quiet as your party rouses from slumber. Everyone sets about preparing to pass through the cave leading to the end wall. Glancing over in the direction of the shout, Trollis was able to make a full recovery thanks to the info he passed on. You acknowledge him with a slight nod, deciding to stop by the market later so you can... The merchant sees that Trollis has recovered and lets out a sigh of relief. He asks after the apothecary with... Alas, the apothecary is... You tell him of the tragedy that transpired. The man falls silent for a time. I should like to set off some fireworks then, in honor of the dead. The fireworks are only briefly visible. You can't help but think they would be prettier if this place ever experienced nighttime. Your thoughts then turn to the departed villagers. The merchant glances over at you with a trouble. For reasons I can't explain, I need a wolf. He then procures a picture and shows it to you. I'd like one with a beautiful shiny coat, he elaborates. Stars, you ask? To which he explains that each monster has a star. Of course, I shall see that you are handsomely rewarded for your effort, he tells you. You decide to accept his request. A delighted smile stretches across his face, and he asks if he can have some of its fur. Once you hand a tuft over, he quickly entwines it with his own hair. I need to make a good impression on all of our patrons. After all, I'm the first person they see. And how after he's finished arranging the wolf fur on his head, he thanks you and hands you your reward. The merchant, recognizing your monster-catching prowess, wants you to bring him an orc child next. You make note of the information and bid the man farewell. Have you captured an orc child? The merchant asks. Remember, it must be 2 stars or above. After you summon the beast, the merchant calls over the blacksmith. The smithy looks at the orc child's weapon. Apparently, he's been developing a hammer that even children could use in self-defense, and wanted to use the orc child's weapon. Allow me to thank you on behalf. I oversee the entire roving market, and as such, it is my duty to reward you. I may ask for your help again in the near future, he says with a smile. Until then. Ah, perfect timing. He then procures a picture and shows it. Apparently, you make note of the information and bid the man farewell. Have you found a venom slime? The merchant asks. Remember, I need one that's 2 stars or above. You take the card out from your case. Ah, it's the right monster, but the wrong. You nod and turn on your heel, determined to capture an even more powerful beast. You head to the inn, and the innkeeper says, "Instead, go spend lots of money at the other shops," she concludes with a wink. The guru mentioned there would be a cave. The party takes a look around. Upon closer examination, if you can just clear the snow away, you should be able to pass inside. The flame primal appears before you and melts the snow, blocking the entrance in an instant. In fact, you might be able to control the flame primal well enough to keep everyone warm in the harsh climbs ahead. In the distance, you see a massive cliff looming over the vast expanse of thick snow before you. That must be the end wall, warmed by the flame primal. The party sets off in the direction of the massive sheet of ice. The sand skiff slows to a crawl. Actually, nope. It's stopped entirely. You peer down at the wheels to find them completely packed with snow. You won't get across the snow in the sand skiff like this. Before you can even get the words out, Polka is his sand skiff Mark II plans. 2 long, thin planks of metal, to be precise, he says, giving you an idea. You raise the card now, with your primal wrangling powers coming into their own. You think you might be able to get the steel to help you summon it, though it's not yet effortless. Your control over the primals feels more responsive than ever. You hand the plates to a gleeful Polka, who immediately attaches them to the sand skiff. Thanks to Polka's efforts, the sand skiff can now travel across snow. Sometimes you get lucky. Beautiful. The bizarre rock transformed into a treasure rock. You come across a warrior clad head to toe in black armor. You spot a sign near him which reads, "Challengers welcome. Must be strong." The warrior turns to face you. You're not sure why he's laughing. You pay him no mind and continue on your way.